The construction timeline of the RMS Titanic is one of the most fascinating, yet often misunderstood parts of its history. Please subscribe. While many people focus on the ship's tragic end, the process of building it was a carefully planned and time-sensitive project that unfolded over several years. Understanding this timeline provides a deeper insight into how such a massive and complex ship came into existence. The story begins in 1909 at the Harland and Wolff shipyard in Belfast, where construction officially started. At that time, the Titanic was part of a larger plan by the White Star Line to build a series of large and luxurious ships. The goal was to compete with other shipping companies by offering unmatched comfort and size. In the early phase of construction, the focus was on building the ship's framework. Workers began by laying the keel, which served as the foundation of the entire structure. From there, the steel framework started to take shape, forming the skeleton of what would become one of the largest ships ever built. As the months passed, large steel plates were added to the framework, creating the hull of the ship. This process required precision and coordination, as each plate had to be carefully positioned and secured. Millions of rivets were used to hold the structure together, many of them installed manually by teams of skilled workers. By 1910, the Titanic's structure had grown significantly, and its size began to attract attention. People were amazed by the scale of the project, and reports about its progress spread across the world. The ship was already being seen as a symbol of modern engineering and ambition. One of the most important milestones in the timeline came in 1911, when the Titanic was launched into the water. This event marked the completion of the hull and the transition to the next phase of construction. Thousands of people gathered to witness the launch, which was a major public event. However, the launch did not mean that the ship was complete. In fact, a significant amount of work remained. After entering the water, the Titanic underwent a process known as fitting out. This involved installing the ship's engines, interior spaces, and various systems required for operation. The fitting out process was complex and time-consuming. Workers installed everything from boilers and machinery to furniture and decorative elements. The goal was to transform the ship from a basic structure into a fully functional and luxurious vessel. Throughout 1911 and early 1912, this work continued at a steady pace. Engineers and designers ensured that every detail met the required standards. The interiors, especially the first-class areas, were carefully crafted to provide a high level of comfort and elegance. By early 1912, the Titanic was nearing completion. The final phase of the timeline included testing and preparation for its maiden voyage. Sea trials were conducted to evaluate the ship's performance, including its speed, handling, and overall functionality. These tests were essential in confirming that the Titanic was ready for service. Once the trials were successfully completed, the ship was officially handed over to the White Star Line. The entire construction timeline, from the laying of the keel in 1909 to the final preparations in 1912, took just under 3 years. For a project of this scale, this was considered a remarkable achievement. It demonstrated the efficiency and capability of the shipbuilding industry at the time. However, the timeline also reveals the intense pressure to complete the ship within a specific period. Coordinating thousands of workers, managing resources, and maintaining quality standards required careful planning and execution. Another important aspect of the timeline is the role of key individuals, such as Thomas Andrews, who oversaw many aspects of the design and construction. Their expertise played a crucial role in ensuring that the project stayed on track. Looking back, the construction timeline of the Titanic reflects the ambition and confidence of its era. It shows how people were willing to take on massive challenges in order to achieve something extraordinary. More than a century later, the timeline remains an important part of the Titanic's story. It helps us understand not only how the ship was built, but also the effort and dedication that went into its creation. In the end, the truth about the Titanic's construction timeline is that it was both a remarkable achievement and a complex process. It required coordination, skill, and determination, bringing together thousands of people to create one of the most famous ships in history. The Titanic may be remembered for its tragic end, but its construction remains a powerful example of what humans can accomplish when they work together toward a common goal.